DIY projects I would do again versus the ones I would not. Someone with an interior design degree that's been making over her home for the last 5 years. First one is picture frame molding. We installed it all over this wall as well as the other wall in this room that you can see here. It was the top half of the wall, the chair rail, and then the picture frame molding on the bottom half. I would 1000% do this again. It's beautiful and classic. It will never go out of style, and it was a lot of work, but one I think that was totally worth it. The second one is any tiling project. I've done 2 major tiling projects in this house. The first was the backsplash here in the laundry room. The second was the fireplace in the living room. I say this one hesitantly, but I would do a DIY tile project again. I say it with hesitation because it's a lot of work, but it was also really fun, and it was immediately gratifying to put up like this really pretty shiny tile. I will say I wouldn't do anything bigger than this fireplace. In fact, last year when we redid the countertops, we also redid the backsplash at the same time, and I knew that this was a tile job I did not want to take on, especially because I made the decision to have the tile go all the way up in the corner above the sink. Thankfully, I knew that this was just going to be way too much for me to tackle on my own. The next DIY project is hanging your own wallpaper. As I would totally do this again with a caveat. You want to make sure it's non-woven wallpaper. In my experience, it is just so much easier to hang, so much easier to work with, very forgiving. You can kind of move it around on the wall as you work with it. And the kind of wallpaper I would not do again is actually peel and stick, which is what we have in the laundry room. This wallpaper is insanely gorgeous, but this was an absolute nightmare to install. You think peel and stick is going to be easy because it's basically like a big sticker and you don't need paste or anything like that. But in reality, once it's on that wall, you can't move it, and it's just really hard to reposition and just incredibly difficult to work with. Next up is recovering furniture. You need to recover something as simple as a seat cushion. Absolutely, I would say go for it. I would personally do this 100 times. This is so easy. But where I would draw the line is anything more complicated than a seat cushion that is removable. Like even this chair, I recovered the seat cushion on this, but I had to hand tack the fabric all the way around the bottom of the chair and then glue trim to just hide all of my work. This chair is probably the most complicated piece I'll ever do, and if I were going to do another chair like this, I would just hire it out. And then the last project we're going to talk about is the board games in a bag trend. I was really wooed by how aesthetic and pleasing putting all my board games in bags would look, and I was able to organize them all in baskets. But at the end of the day, I would not do this again. As chaotic as our game closet looked before, they were easy to find. They were more exciting to look at. Not that our games look like this, they're really hard to find. We're not really that excited to go hunting for whichever game we think we remember we have. And honestly, sometimes we don't even remember what we have because they're all just in bags. Be sure to follow along for more interior design and DIY content. And if you have a DIY that you've been wanting to try, drop it in the comments. If it's something I've already tried, I'll let you know if it's worth it.